About 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine made a short journey to another town to get a tattoo done that he wanted. And he took the drive because the tattoo artists were actually guest artists. They were from Palestine and have an ancient tradition of tattooing that they brought over from Egypt to Palestine. So this is the Razzouk, and this is who he wanted to do his tattoo of St. Michael. Now, I had to do a little research. He was very excited on getting this done, and I did a little research on the company, and on their website they give a little history that tattooing is an art that the Razzouk family brought to Palestine 500 years ago from Egypt. Initially arriving in the Holy Land as pilgrims, the family decided to stay, engaging in trade and continuing their tattooing tradition. This art, practiced by the family for over 700 years, became their livelihood as they tattooed pilgrims visiting the Holy Land. The Razzouk ancestors used tattoos to mark Christian Copts in Egypt with a small cross on the inside of the wrist. This cross served as a symbol of faith and granted access to churches. Without it, entry could be denied. For this reason, Christians often tattooed their children with the cross from a very young age, sometimes as early as a few months old, identifying them as Copts. Now, this is very interesting because at this same time, when I'm learning about them and he's getting his tattoo, they discovered in Egypt 2 churches over 1,500 years old. And one says over 1,500, one says 1,600-year-old. A mural of Jesus healing the sick in Egypt. And that's where Christianity had crossed over into the country's religious practices. So anyway, it's just interesting that this happened at about the same time, and here they're both prominent. So, the Razzouk family uses these stencils that have been used forever before they do their tattoos. So you have these to choose from. And, of course, my friend chose St. Michael. It felt very important to him. And he is Unitarian now. Like me, he's gone through a variety of faiths, searching for truth. And if you don't know what Unitarian Christian is, I have to look at my notes here. The Unitarian beliefs center around the idea of one God. They reject the Christian doctrine of the Trinity. They emphasize the teachings of Jesus as a moral guide. They value the individual experience in understanding faith, promote social justice and inclusivity. Now, this is very important for my friends, for who he is, and I can show a little bit of that in a moment. Now, it originated in the 16th century in Poland, Transylvania, and England, and has spread to various regions and denominations. They believe that Christ was inspired by God in his moral teachings, that he is the savior of mankind, but he's not equal to God himself. So very big differences to some of the other Christian denominations and beliefs. To get a little idea, the 16th century, of course, was the 1500s, and this was during Shakespeare's time, Copernicus' sun-centered universe theory, the Reformation of the Protestant religion, and the Age of Exploration. So, very interesting times indeed. Now, the name Razzouk is of Arabic origin, commonly found among individuals of Lebanese and Syrian descent. Derived from the Arabic word Razzouk, meaning provider or sustainer. The name Razzouk likely originated as an occupational surname, indicating that the bearer or their ancestors were involved in a profession related to providing or distributing goods or services. So this family, you know, of course, their service is the tattoos, and it's very interesting that it's Arabic origin because my friend has Arabic influence in his life as well as some of the other things that we're going to discuss. Okay, so what's this look like in the chart? Well, I really love the solar return because his last name is conjunct tattoo, even though his birthday, you know, is back in June, and the name of the tattoo artist is conjunct Saint Michael in his solar return. So maybe I'll get to editing that so I can show it, but I don't know. It's taken me 2 weeks to get this far. So anyway, so this is his birth chart, his natal chart, and just as a quick reminder, everything on the inside is where things were when he was born. He happened to be born the day after my own son, and they share a lot of similar traits, so I have a better understanding of him, but as an individual, because they have different risings, they have different, different goals in life, their houses are placed differently, so I love to compare and contrast their two lives, but they do have a lot of similar things, the way they view life and their experiences. So it's just fun that his mom and I were giving birth at about the same time. And he is a Taurus rising. Now, the sign of Taurus is ruled by Venus, so his entire chart is ruled by Venus. And the second house is the Venus and Taurus house. So this is the most compulsive house, from what I understand. We just automatically do the things in this house as we go through life. And Venus is related to our personal beliefs and values. It's related to money. It's related to our self-worth and value. And my friend has been given a particularly hard path, or has chosen a particularly hard path, where he does have to evaluate his own self-worth and value and decide his own personal beliefs. There was that little thing about the Unitarian beliefs promoting social justice, and he does have Justitia conjunct his vertex almost to the minute. Vertex is Destiny's gateway in Libra, which is the law. Sixth house is the service to others, work, daily experiences. He is going to just started back to law school, has been working as a paralegal for a while, a long while. And so, you know, this right here ties right in with his path, where he is very different from others, and to him it's important to include everybody. So this also makes a connection here to this asteroid Razzouk, which is the closest I could find to Razzouk. There are two of them that I have placed in here, and I just wanted to show that because it's really, really neat. Let me regather here. Alright, so if we go back to the second house, which I had said very compulsory, there is a whole bunch in here pertaining to this tattoo that he had. And the degrees, I've mentioned before that the degrees are, each one has meaning. And in the medical degrees, 21 degrees Gemini is the arm muscle. The 23 is the radius of the arm. 26 is wrist bones. And that is right about on his forearm where he got the tattoo. And you'll see that it makes a connection here. I mean, we have Anton is the name of the tattoo artist. Don't want to jump around too fast. Both Antons are right here at 26 Gemini, the wrist bones. And the two asteroids I used are Anton in holy, because he was getting a religious tattoo, and Anton Wu, because there was a supernatural feel to it. That this was beyond event, so woo woo. Yes, those sit right here, conjunct to the area where he got his tattoo. They make a positive trine over here to the vascular system of the skin at 27 degrees. Sixth house, health, daily routines. Anyway, and connect to the Galactic Center. They also connect to Mercury and St. Michael at 25-26 Cancer. He is a Cancer, Mercury, and Sun. Chiron, wounding, the spiritual search, Chiron the centaur didn't feel comfortable in his own skin because he was a centaur. He didn't fit in anywhere, so that's connecting. And I use Lydia for tattoos because Groucho Marx had a song, I believe it was Groucho Marx, Lydia the Tattooed Lady, and I know several tattoo artists. So I use Lydia and tattooing, which is, of course, supposed to be from Star Wars, but with all of my little tattoo artists and people that get tattoos, they show up regularly. Okay, so transit Mercury here at 27 degrees in Leo, making a positive trine to the Galactic Center in Sagittarius. And it, of course, connects to Anton's. His Mercury in St. Michael. He said of all the people all the figures he could get tattooed, St. Michael was his choice. And it connects to everything else that we have here in red. So, he did not get a tattoo in his hometown. He drove quite a ways to get this. And we go back to this second house. This is Clark. I actually had 2 Clarksvilles from different areas of the country come up to be charted. Well, I wanted to chart them to show the people, but 2 different events in 2 different Clarksvilles. So, the next one I do will be another Clarksville town. But right now, so he went to Clarksville and met Anton and got his tattoos on his forearm. And you can see his exact name, which is his first name, is right here next to Clark on this second house cusp. And, this is our beliefs, values. Gemini, the way we think, it's ruled by Mercury. And, of course, Mercury was involved in the decision to get tattooed, and it was a short journey. Mercury rules short journeys. And Anton is opposite the Galactic Center. So, Uranus was conjunct his exact name here in transit in Gemini, also ruled by Mercury, making a positive trine here to his midheaven, his public house, and Pluto is coming back over it. And of course, here I am making this video. But it's also his career and his hopes and goals and the direction. So he is transforming his career again, going back to school. His exact name in Uranus also rule the house where this full moon total eclipse happened September 7th, 6 days before is when he got the tattoo. So that's 9 degrees. Keep that in mind. That's right opposite his Jupiter here with Christian and Sun on it. They also connect here positively to Christa, which is Christ, and to his Christian on the 9th house cusp in Capricorn. Capricorn's traditional values and beliefs. Cusp is a very powerful spot. 9th house is our search for truth, our beliefs and philosophies, higher learning other cultures, going back to college. So that's a grand trine there in earth signs for all this Christian here. They also connect to transit Anton and Holy at 1046 here. Venus in transit at 734. Both of those are sitting right here at his Chiron and his part of fortune. Fourth house, Leo. And the fourth house is our home, our family, and our deep inner thoughts. It's also considered to be related to our past lives. So, see, we mentioned that one, Christian. That's all connecting there to this full moon total eclipse that we had in Pisces. Okay, take a moment. Okay, now remember, I do like it to be within 2 degrees to show with the transiting planets that are going around here. So it can be up to 4 degrees if you're looking at a particular point in his natal chart. Krista was on Indiana at 9 degrees, also connecting to this full moon total eclipse that we had. And we have the new moon eclipse here at 2859, which is in 3 degrees of this St. Michael. Definitely to his midheaven and his IC, emotional foundations, roots. So his Razzouk, which is the other asteroid I found to use for Razzouk, is within 1.5 degrees or so of his natal Lydia. And they fall in the 5th house, pleasures, hobbies. And of course, esoterically, there's something else, but they sit right on the super Galactic Center, which, like the Galactic Center, is another black hole. And his angel sits on the Great Attractor. So he has a very definite connection to angels, such as St. Michael. Then we'll skip around too fast. We'll get back to the yellows. But so his Razzouk and Lydia, representing tattooing, sits on the super galactic center. And transit tattooing is at 201 at the midpoint between those. Cool. And within 2 degrees, they connect to his midheaven, his IC, also to transiting Pluto at 147. They connect to his north node in the 8th house, which is in Capricorn. Now, Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, and that does rule the skin. And Venus's beauty treatments. So then we have transiting Clark for Clarksville at 3 degrees 31 minutes, connecting to his Razzouk and tattoo right here, and connecting to his Cancer sun and his south node. So we got that positive trine there where he went to Clarksville to get his tattoo. Those still connect to his exact first name, conjunct Uranus in his first house of self. Gemini, thinking. They're connecting to, of course, Saturn and Neptune. Neptune is religion. It's, our spiritual beliefs. It's our creativity. It's our inner knowing. He made this appointment a while back. I was trying to find when he made the appointment and told me about it. But apparently it was either by phone or another method than text that we usually use. So anyway, so you've got the Pluto and the Neptune. And they're actually making a finger of God to Mercury, which moves very quickly here. Aspect. But there's bigger aspect patterns too. I'm not even going to try to get into all those. Okay, so all these 3s, 3.5s, would also connect to his last name here at 554. So, you go 2 degrees each way. So anything that's around 5 degrees, 4 degrees. Now, the address to the tattoo shop that he went to in Clarksville also sits here, right here at his sun, in this compulsive 2nd house. Cancer is very intuitive, ruled by the moon. So, always have to keep that in mind. Now, I want to go back. Let's see. The things I don't have colored. His last name and Mars in the 12th house, which of course is ruled by Neptune. Connect to transiting Rizq, which was at 4 degrees 44 minutes at noon that day. And of course, that's a very powerful spiritual number. Connecting to chaos, which is chaos on the lower end and your higher spiritual universe, creativity, and connection. Truth and Venus were conjunct right here near his Chiron, but connecting to his Mars in the 12th house. Mars rules blood and movement, how we move forward in life. In Taurus, that would be ruled by Venus, getting his beauty treatment there on his arm. Also expressing his individual Unitarian beliefs. Then we have, that's still connecting to the Sun and Christian conjunct here on his Jupiter. And Jupiter is, of course, the ruler of the 9th house in Sagittarius, where the great attractor and angel are. The Moon, which rules his Sun and his Venus and his Mercury and his St. Michael and his Rizq and Krista, all these things here in Cancer. The Moon had crossed over the great attractor and angel. Now the Moon also rules his 4th house, where his Chiron, his part of fortune, his tattoo, his unitas, which I didn't get into yet, for Unitarian conjunct truth here. Let's stay on track now. What else was in the 5 to 7 range? Clark, of course, would connect to the 5s. Razzouk at 6 degrees 40 minutes would also connect to that, and it's making a positive trine to his last name and his Mars. Let's see. All right, I guess it's time for the yellows. So his angel on the great attractor in Sagittarius, search for truth, higher meaning, beliefs, beliefs and philosophies, higher learning, other cultures. The Moon is crossing over it, and of course, all of the religious asteroids in Indiana and all that were connecting to the full moon eclipse. His moon is in Aries. Aries can be impulsive. It's ruled by Mars. It's also not given enough credit for being highly intuitive. But it's an independence. And his moon in the 12th house is pretty powerful too for intuition. So then we have that karmic inconjunct to the location, which is something special that I do that I don't think anybody else does, narrowing it down. Sitting here also in this 12th house Taurus. So this is his spiritual tattoo on the skin. Beauty treatment, Taurus. His exact first name is also 17 degrees, and the moon was there. And Mars, that rules his moon and his 12th house, this part of the 12th house, and the first house where his exact name is, Mars was at the eclipse point, conjunct the location in transit. Now the eclipse point was 15 degrees 23 minutes. Mars was making that karmic inconjunct to the eclipse point, and Mars is what activates eclipse. So, very cool to see. Then we have the oranges. Jupiter was conjunct St. Michael, 1752 and 1814. Those actually also connect to his first name. Connects to his Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn, of course, rules the skin and professionals. Aquarius is the individual. And then we have, there are also Antonov at 1907, right next here to St. Michael and Jupiter. Jupiter brings good gifts, good luck, but it also does rule the spiritual parts of our lives in the Sagittarius ninth house. Okay, so Jupiter is ruling this angel and great attractor. All right, skipping in circles here. I don't want to miss anything. His last name was at 19 degrees, 19 minutes at noon. Another powerful number like Risk at 444. And his last name's conjunct South Node past, North Node future here in Pisces. And 1919, if you look up the angel number for that, since we're talking about angels, I usually use Joanne Sacred Scribes because whenever I see these, double numbers, triple numbers, things, I go look up, see what they mean. So this is from Joanne Sacred Scribes. And 1919 may be suggesting aspects of your life are coming to a close and or an important phase or cycle is coming to an end. Trust this is happening for very karmic reasons, which will become evident in the near future. Preparing you to begin a wonderful new life and lifestyle. These endings are clearing the way for you to fully pursue your life purpose as your soul dictates. Trust that all the information, guidance, and assistance you will need along your path will be supplied by the angels and universal energies. It's a message from your angels that a cycle or phase is coming to an end, making way for new to begin. Do not look upon these endings as a loss, but rather as a new beginning, opportunity, or adventure. One door is closing behind you as another opens in front of you, and your angels ask that you stay positive and focused as the universe sets you in perfect alignment with your life purpose and soul mission. Isn't that beautiful? Now, see, he does have natal chaos after opposite Pluto, and there's actually another very important last name to his life opposite this as well, and they connect to his truth and unitas opposite Saturn here. So Saturn is co-ruler of Aquarius, by the way, and does rule the 10th house. So let's see, what else did I forget? I didn't highlight this one here. I noticed that the street of the tattoo shop, because I looked it up later. The street of the tattoo shop was actually opposite the solar eclipse new moon. And I didn't know if he wanted me to tell the name of the tattoo shop and give them free advertising or not. So I didn't. I can put it in the comments if that feels like something to be done. But, so then we have, let's see, the street in transit that I'd added in later at 23 degrees here is opposite Anton and all of these arm areas where he got the tattoo. And I think the only other ones I really didn't do was that his Antonov natal is 12 degrees here. And his tattoo is 12 degrees here, connecting to transit Unitas and Angel conjunct here. At 11 and 12 degrees, of course, I would connect to 9s and 10s. So anyway, I can keep going around in circles like I tend to do, but you can see that, I mean, we just know if we listen to ourselves at all, that, what we're supposed to do. And it's all part of the path. We have to learn to trust in ourselves more, I think, is probably the biggest lesson for all of that. Oh, yes, his Neptune and Uranus. Everyone born in the late 1980s, early 1990s have this Neptune-Uranus conjunction, And his is in the 9th house, which is Sagittarius, which is also the search for truth. Sagittarius, along with Libra, are law. Neptune, of course, rules that 12th house, and Pisces, where this full moon eclipse hit, and Uranus rules Aquarian, which is for the collective, things that we do for others, humanitarianism, and so it's a very powerful energy for him, especially being in Capricorn in 9th house. So he's finding a way of turning these traditional values into something for the entire collective, and it's a pretty big job. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this now because I could ramble on forever. There's a lot more I didn't get to, but you kind of just get an idea that we're all doing okay. We just have to remember our hearts and follow our inner guidance. Thanks for watching.